everyone, good afternoon. Thanks for joining me on this 145th episode of the Bisimoto Tech2sDay. Thank you so much, guys, for being part of this wonderful opportunity. Just put some information down here. And for those of you on YouTube, thank you for joining me on this wonderful archiving moment. I appreciate all of you. And for those of you listening on the broadcast or podcast networks, thank you so much. Is that a Roborace car I see behind you? Yes, it is. I'm here in Marina del Rey, courtesy of Junior Mai and his team here at Roborace, allowed me access to the beautiful facility. There's really no one here, with the whole social distancing thing, which is great, but it's wonderful to be just surrounded by amazing machinery. And this right here is a beautiful Roborace car. And we're going to talk about that quite a bit. For those of you who don't know what's going on here, Roborace, they are really leaders when it comes to automotive technology in terms of motorsports and creating a safer future for all of us by creating autonomous high-performance vehicles. And I want to talk to you guys today about what is so exciting about autonomy and why that's important. Now, in the United States, there are tons of accidents that happen just in this country alone on an annual basis, tens of thousands, and those accidents, many of them are even fatal in nature. When we get to a point where we now have autonomous vehicles, all that can go away. I really mean it, guys. Ahad Mirza's here. Oh my goodness, Ahad, all the way from, wow, I've known you as far back as Autometer, which is great. So he used to be a great sponsor for us. Blink Charging is here as well, saying it's a gorgeous car behind me here. And the autonomous vehicles allow for a safe environment. When we have the opportunity to have vehicles at level 5 autonomy, we will actually put accidents at bay. No more accidents anymore at all. But as an enthusiast, what does that mean for us? Well, I have been part of certain, I would say, scenarios with companies like Toyota, where you can have the opportunity to have autonomy in boring things like going to the market, or getting transported to work, or going to school. But when you come up to a winding road, as an enthusiast, you can take over the controls and have a blast. And with the advent of electric motors and the technology there that allows us to have a lot of fun, I absolutely am excited about what the future holds for us. So, as an enthusiast first and engineer second, I love speed. I just love the speed. But speaking of speed, let me let the cat out of the bag, which a lot of you have been waiting for. So, my partners at Blink, wonderful company. They make an array of chargers for both commercial and personal use. They have this beautiful home charger that's a level 2 that can charge very quickly. One person had the opportunity to win by having taken advantage of liking Bisimoto, liking Blink, and tagging 2 of their friends. It was that simple to be able to win. So I'm going to share the winner of the Blink home charger system. Yeah, it does look that way, doesn't it? And it is Tyler G. So Tyler G, I don't know if you're here, but it's Tyler G is the winner of our Blink charger. This is one of many. So that being said, thank you so much for allowing this opportunity, Blink, and for allowing my fans to be able to win this wonderful charger. And more to come, guys. We're going to make this very exciting. And you can still take advantage of certain sales they have on Amazon, especially if you have the opportunity to become a pro, I would say a member of them. With this pro membership, you have the opportunity to get 25% off the charger. And if you keep paying attention to both Blink and Bisimoto and following Blink, you have opportunities of winning even more chargers, which is pretty cool. And it gets better. When you register and install the charger, you can get a $300 credit. How cool is that? In terms of being able to charge it. Now, some of you may say, wait a minute, I don't care. I don't have an EV car in my house. I don't have this beautiful Roborace car or the 935 or anything of that nature. But guess what? Even in your own homes, it raises property value. Because I'm telling you, here in LA, it's a big deal. When you try and sell a house or rent out a house and it has a level 2 charger installed, it actually helps with property value. So by all means, congrats to Tyler G. It's Tyler G. Thank you so much. And I look forward to doing a lot more with all of you. Thank you so much, Blink. And thank you, Roborace, for having us here, doing all this great stuff. June, I don't know if you're still here, but a gentleman's asking how much horsepower does this make? And I don't know how much this one makes. So if you're able to share that with the team, that would be fantastic. But back onto autonomy. It creates a safe environment. Even on a racing aspect, it really puts teams against each other and who can program the best going on and off the track or around the track and doing great things. I want to put something together internally where we can have a pro racer race one of our cars and then have an autonomous program put into it and see who can be better, man or machine. So something I may play with later on, Have you ever thought about bidding MR2 as William Payne 16? Yes, as a matter of fact, I've shared this story many times. When I was in Nigeria, Before I came to the United States, I really wanted to have a really cool vehicle. And the cars I wanted, unfortunately, were cars I could not afford as a student. I wanted the MR2, the AW11, and believe it or not, the Pontiac Fiero. I thought those two cars are pretty awesome. And I ended up, now I do have an AW11 project in my facility that I haven't quite decided what I'm gonna do with yet. It's a rolling shell, red, very nice, old school, very pretty car. But yes, I have thought about it, you know? Tom EV Nut is asking, BC, how are you? I'm fine, thank you for asking. Any new EV conversions planned? Yes. So here's the thing. I have two high-profile vehicles planned for what was supposed to be SEMA this year. So even though SEMA's not happening, my partners at Toyo are still putting together their beautiful tread pass, and I'm going to launch these vehicles for everyone to view in a very safe environment, meaning virtually. So similar to what we're doing, and if you guys are not participating, by all means, we have a very cool event happening with Hot Wheels. It's going to be showing the Hot Wheels Facebook page. So if you haven't followed them, go on Hot Wheels Facebook page, like it, and it'll come up. I believe it's 7 p.m. on Thursday, Pacific. You'll have the opportunity to be able to have a good time. So nonetheless, we're going to do something similar with Toyo, where we're going to view these cars. One car's going to be petrol-based, because it's probably my, I won't say my last, maybe my last hurrah, on crazy ICE, the most technologically advanced but very clean burning twin turbo setup. My second crazy project is going to be the most advanced EV I've ever built in my life. And I'm going to have to really pull some madness to be able to do something more advanced than what I'm about to build. So yes, that being said, I'm going to do that, you know? Which are the worst cars for long distance travel because they lose mileage very quickly? I would say, based upon my experience, the worst car I had for long distance, even though it was fun, but the worst car I had for long distance is pretty much maybe a tie between my, you know, I'll just say it's my Viper. So it'll be the 5th gen Viper I have. It's very fun, very fast, but because of the gas tank size, which I barely get 120 miles when driving properly, it didn't carry a lot of luggage, so it was just a cool American supercar, but wasn't great for high mileage traveling. It just wasn't very ideal. So that's my experience, you know? EV launch control says Mitsubishi, cool name. Yes, that thing is awesome. So the Taycan Turbo S, I had the opportunity to explore that, and that was fantastic. It was so fantastic and influenced me so positively that my next builds I'm gonna have would definitely have launch control. So I'm gonna do that indeed, you know? You're not letting the cat out the bag, huh? Says Chineme GT3. I'm curious about the build you're talking about. Well, I have two of them. Okay, I'll give a little bit more away. I'll show the cat's tail. How's that? They are both Porsches. So I'm going to build an EV Porsche and also a petrol Porsche. So those are two. And they will just break the internet. They're amazing cars. And they're both in paint right now, believe it or not. You know? You know? William Payne 16 asks, what was the starter car donor for the EV935? Was it a slant nose? William, believe it or not, no, it wasn't. It was actually a 1984 Carrera SC that I found in the Palm Springs area in the garage of the president of the Porsche Owners Club here in Southern California. Ron Palmer is his name. And it was a car that I pretty much rescued. And what do I mean by that? It was sitting in his dad's garage, destined to never see the road or track ever again. And I was able to, with the team at DreamWorks, graft on original Kremer molds, or body molds, onto that particular chassis. And hence, the 935 that is today. And for those of you who may not know, 935s are primarily 930 vehicles, you know, so not too far-fetched from the SC that we grafted it onto, you know? S2K Jose says you should do an S2000 build yourself. I did. You know what's weird? When I was at the old shop, as far back as 2007, I picked up an AP1, and it was silver. I painted it the Bisimoto blue, and my goal was to turbocharge and build this crazy spoon-bodied hardtop S2000. And when I got it out of paint, it was so pretty. I had the engine ready, the chassis ready, getting ready to put together and just go to town. A gentleman who worked at a local parts store saw it and said, I want that car, it's so beautiful, and made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I sold the S2K. I never ended up doing that, you know? Or a person said he likes a shirt. Thank you so much, sir. Let me know, guys, if you want me to put this out. This is a prototype. I love prototypes so much. This is a prototype shirt I have, and it's like a overlay BC, like kind of a weird, out of focus kind of thing. which is kind of old school, but it pays homage to the Bisimoto 935 K3V. So if you guys like this shirt, let me know and I'll bring it out. No problem. No problem indeed. You know. What turbo do you recommend for a K24? Precision and Garrett both garbage. Wow, that's interesting you said that, Portuguese. My experience has been a little different, but I'm a huge advocate of Turbonetics. And you may say, why Turbonetics? Well, not only do they have amazing products, the Supers that used to come by and break my dyno, literally max my dyno out, all had Turbonetics turbos on them. And plus, a lot of people don't know this, but Turbonetics, one of their key customers, their key accounts is the US government, believe it or not. So they supply turbochargers to drones, to military aircraft, and so on and so forth. So that being said, it was really interesting that there are certain parts of the company, even though I'm good friends with the guys at Turbonetics, that I'm not allowed to go into because they have a lot of top secret stuff. If it's good enough for the US government and military, it's good enough for me. And they offer good warranties on their products as well. So I love that stuff, you know? Fox Design, etc., who is my very good friend Paul, who's helped me with a ton of projects like the Waggle van and also the Hot Wheels Porsche center seat, says, tell us about this Hot Wheels Legend judging and the EV lean pin. I hope you're getting some for your most loyal fans. So the judging is just really a virtual event that's happening this Thursday with Hot Wheels, and I'm a judge there, I amongst others. So we'll judge the ultimate, the coolest car that's going to be part of that virtual show. On the lean pin version, you know, it's something that's a very limited supply. I don't even know if I'm getting some of these, but they're pins of the Bisimoto K3V in its original livery. So you may have noticed that the livery of the K3V has changed slightly. That change was for a film project that we did with a very high, I would say, high-level designer and also computer company. And so it's like that for now, but it will change back to original livery very soon, which is really cool. But that being said, yes, that's what that's all about. So I'll try my best, Paul, to at least snag one or two for you. I'll try, I promise you. But I don't even have anything yet. It's so sad. Anyway, hello, Mimoto. Love that name. I wonder why. I really love it. So thanks for joining. I appreciate that, Psy Twin. I think I'll bring it out. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably put up two, because I had this one on. I have this one on today. I had another one I wore maybe a couple weeks ago. Let me know which one you guys like the best. Hello, Falcon lover Zach. Very talented young man who's starting to master Fusion 360, which is the same program I use for all of my designs and rapid prototyping, all that fun stuff, you know? You should do some EV VWs. I do support, I shouldn't say that. You know, I probably should. What will really help me tremendously is if I end up getting a partnership with Volkswagen. I don't work with Volkswagen AG at all. I don't have a relationship with them. And the great thing, as I talk about a lot, is when I work with manufacturers, it makes the process of design and also creation much easier, because they can help us significantly with technology and also resources to make it happen. And typically when I work with a Ford or American Honda or Hyundai or Porsche, you see me bring something new and something old school, which is always very good, you know? Hello, have you ever driven a Russian or Soviet car? Does a Lada count as one? Or maybe a Yugo? If that's the case, then yes. So where I'm from, I grew up seeing Ladas and Yugos, and I had the opportunity to drive them. They were kind of interesting cars. I'll leave it at interesting, you know? What do you suggest? Hello, NSX Michael Mao. Good seeing you, sir. Very clean NSX Michael has. I've known him for very many years, and we've tuned quite a few of his projects as well. What do you suggest for a D15B series? Just wanted a little whistle. A little whistle, then turbo will do it. But if you mean that you want to stay natural aspirated and you just want something to give it a little more pep, there are a few things you can do. Intake, header, exhaust. That really wakes it up. And if you still have your D15 gearbox, update to an EX or SI1, the gearing, that jump from a 4.0 to a 2.25 final drive does wonders. Porsche is a part of VW, so you can work on something there now. I wish it's that simple. They really act as silos. Even though they're part of the larger group, yes. But Audi, Porsche, VW proper, they all act in silos. They don't interact with each other. The marketing departments are completely separate from each other. As a matter of fact, a lot of the decisions made here in North America are in Atlanta for Porsche. And they don't talk to the other guys from VW at all, you know? What is this beautiful car behind me, you ask? And let me get out of this way, because I feel like I'm messing it up. That is number 33, Roborace race vehicle. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm here in Roborace. That is actually an autonomous race car. So you cannot sit in that. It's fully unmanned and absolutely amazing. And actually, what is learned from this vehicle will help preserve lives for the future. because the technology that goes in this trickles its way into mass production and allows us to better understand autonomy and be able to keep a safer future for us and our children as well, which is amazing, eh? Why am I even doing this? Well, I'll tell you guys one thing, and for those of you who have joined me in the past, you know this. When I came to the United States as a student with my 2 suitcases, I always loved cars and wanted the opportunity to be able to learn from people. So I'd go to shops with my CRX, that was my first car that I modified, and I'd say, hey, I really want to modify this. I want to buy parts from you, but could you help me understand how it works? Could you help me understand how it improves the efficiency and power of my car? I have no problem paying for it, but I just want to understand. Could you teach me? I'm just thirsty for knowledge. And so many people just like, go away, African boy. No, we're not going to do that for you. Just drop off the car, pay us, and go. And that really bothered me until I found someone like John Concialdi, the founder of AEM. And plus, as an engineering student, I was able to use my expertise and knowledge and what I was learning to apply towards my vehicles. And I always vowed that I would never be that person. So what I'm doing now is I'm being that individual I needed when I was younger. And I encourage all of you to do the same thing. If you have an opportunity where you have someone who needs your help, be there for that person, because you never know what you can do to really point that person in the right direction or steer their life in a better situation as well, which is fantastic, you know? Any cons from running M1 fuel? As hit the EF? Yes. So M1 is the designation given by VP Fuels for lab-grade methanol. Methanol is that component that has an OH radical that's similar to ethanol, but has a higher caloric content when you, of course, expire it, or better yet, ignite it with the same amount of air ingested. So if you have, let's say, 1 cubic meter of air, and you put a proper amount of fuel or gasoline, it'll make it create X amount of heat. A proper amount of combustion fuel for ethanol, it'll create X amount of heat. Do the same thing for methanol, and it has the capability of creating a lot more heat for the same amount of air ingested. Don't confuse that with the caloric content per unit fuel, because that's different, but per unit air ingested was what engines care about. Okay. Now, one thing about M1 being a methanol is that it has a very low latent heat of vaporization. And you say, what does that mean, BC? Well, it means it doesn't take much temperature to be able to change it from the liquid phase to gas phase. But you're like, so what? The process of evaporation requires energy. And because it requires energy, it causes a cooling mechanism around it. And you know what cool air does to a car, right? When you're looking at a turbo, or you're looking at something that's naturally aspirated, the cool air allows for a denser mixture, which allows more molecules of oxygen to pack together, which allows for more power. So, M1, based upon its caloric abilities for the heat it creates with the amount of air ingested, combined with its low latent heat of vaporization, hence cooling the intake charge, is just a match made in heaven. It's just amazing. Can create a lot more power than gasoline. You touch your intake manifold when running methanol, it feels ice cold. It's amazing as a fuel. But what's the caveat? As High Def is asking, what's the con? Well, methanol is quite strong in terms of a cleaning agent, and also it attacks aluminum very easily and can also devulcanize rubber, which means it can remove the sulfur from the rubber. It can really attack rubber very easily. It can clog injectors very easily if left to dry. It's a very corrosive agent in terms of a fuel. So what do you have to do? You have to pickle your system each time you run it, meaning after you run your event with methanol, it's always a great idea to drain your system and then put gasoline in it, and then run the car with a gasoline fuel map, and then clean the injectors and keep everything happy. That way you don't contaminate any injectors, you don't clog anything, you don't eat up your lines, you don't, eat up your aluminum. It's just much better to do it that way. But it's well worth the effort. Even if you expire your engine, God forbid you're on the track and you blow your engine up, pickle it. Even if the car's running, pickle it. That way you can keep things happy. But it's a great fuel. So the cons are, really it's very corrosive, and it requires a lot of maintenance. Whenever I build a car that runs methanol, I go out of my way to run Teflon lines for the entire system. And if you are going to run an oil, don't just run any conventional oil. You will hurt your engine. Run something like Purol that is methanol compatible, that doesn't easily get emulsified by methanol. So it will run down your rings, and you need oil that can really be very resilient or have chemical resiliency to that. which is pretty good, you know? Ray Sharm says, I need a TV show ASAP. Thank you so much. Believe it or not, we talked to a lot of networks, and we've been in quite a few shows, but I appreciate the vote of confidence. Thank you so much, you know? Reframe is saying, BC, so great to see you're growth-minded. Thank you so much. Yes, I live my life, really, I mean it, where every day I want to go to sleep better than I was waking up. Every day I progress. If this day comes that I didn't improve, it's a day of failure. And I don't like failure, even though failure could be a good experience, but I live to improve. What was your dream car growing up, says 767 Capo. Growing up as a child, believe it or not, it was like the Porsche 930. You know, who didn't have a poster of a Porsche Turbo on their wall? So that was my dream car, like, oh my God, that's the unattainable car, oh my goodness. Okay, I love the MR2, I love the Fiero, don't judge me, but the Porsche 930, oh my God, that was it, you know? But yeah. If I had a dyno in front-wheel drive and did all-wheel drive conversion, would the boost change due to more grip or load? Boost can change based upon load. Yes, it can. It's just a sheer. So think about it. It's almost like you can really see that on a low-based dyno. You'll notice that if you have the very same setup in the very same gear on, let's say, inertia dyno, and you're in third gear, if you have the load just free-flowing, you'll notice your boost will come up very slowly. But if you put more load, it'll rapidly accelerate the boost, and you'll have a much faster boost spool up. So yes, it does change that. But what I tend to do, because sometimes you may be on the dyno, tune your setup perfectly in two-wheel drive, and go to all-wheel drive, and now you have a load, maybe due to drivetrain losses or environment, where you may be in a boost situation or area that you never even tuned. I tend to build a boost per fuel map on the background of all my engine management solutions, so that even if I'm in a boost region that is in tune, there's a mathematical correlation between amount of air ingested versus the amount of fuel required. And I can do that primarily on the AM Series 1, Series 2, and Infinity without qualm. I have this great built-in algorithm. So if you're using a proper engine management solution, please choose one of those AEM choices because this is very good. I think you can do something very similar on Motec as well, and Haltech and some of the good higher-end engine management solutions. Some OEMs allow for that opportunity as well, but it's something that you can do very reliably indeed, you know? BC needs to go live more often. I really do. You know, it's so funny. I told you guys earlier on that this is my 145th episode back to back, and I treat it like church, pretty much, where I'm religious in doing it, whether it falls on a birthday, on an anniversary, or the birth of a child, or an event, or if I'm traveling, or if I have meetings with Google in Mountain View, I make sure I stop, or I'm filming in Rochester, New York with Hyperdrive and Netflix. I stop what I'm doing and I interact with all of you, my family. So I'll try my best to probably do things more often, but it's very challenging because my time is very, very crazy, but this time we have together is very important to me, and I try and make it happen with all of you, you know? BC, could you talk about boost on stock K24? How much boost can it take OEM? Very good question, and one that actually is a little bit entrenched in some, how should I say, misunderstandings. Boost is not a number that determines power. Boost is pretty much a number that allows you to reach a certain horsepower. So, what do I mean by that? You can have a very small disco potato, a small 48mm turbo, like what J-Dog has. And you can boost to 15 PSI with that one small turbo, and you'll probably make, let's say, 300 horsepower at 15 PSI with that one turbo. I can take a large 72mm turbo, which is on my wagon, put the same 15 PSI on the same 2mm, and make 600 horsepower. Well, guess what? It's the same pressure, but because of the size of the turbo wheels, for every revolution of the wheel, more air is pushed in. For every pressure level, more air is pushed into the motor. So hence, the ability to make more power. The best way to do that is a rule of thumb on a horsepower. How much horsepower could a K24A, K24Z3, K24Z7, what could it take safely? Well, my experience has been 400 to 420. You can run that, track it, have fun, as long as the tune is safe for you. As long as you don't misbehave. You have good fuel, good oil like pure oil, and you're good to go. So 400 wheel, 420 wheel is a happy medium. Now, by the way, if you start misbehaving and having engine knock and all that other rubbish, you can expire your engine very easily, but that's good. Whatever boost level it takes you to get there is good. If you're building a full drag car, put a bigger turbo on it, and you can do that at 6 psi. If you want quick response, you're doing some kind of road racing, and bottom end is very important to you, put a smaller turbo, put a 57 millimeter turbo on that. And you can do that at 11 psi. So psi is not the unit of measurement of how much you can do. It's more of how much horsepower can you push reliably and make that happen. So on that note, I must depart, guys. I really appreciate all of you joining me this afternoon on this 145th episode of the Bisimoto Tech Tuesday. Huffminator, I appreciate the kind words as well. Tyler G, congratulations with your It's Tyler G moniker here on IG. Congratulations for you winning the wonderful Blink Level 2 charger. Roborace, thank you so much for really showing me your facility. Despite this madness here with COVID, you're able to give me access to your lovely facility and allowing me to do my Tech Tuesday here. In the meantime, guys, stay safe. Be that person you needed when you were younger. I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care, everyone. Cheers.